If Cardano continues on its trajectory, I think you're going to see a 20 to 30x. I think it's going to be $1 trillion cryptocurrency. And I honestly think that's conservative because of everything that it's doing. I think its blockchain is going to be implemented with millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, and dozens of governments around the world, if not more. So the average person, to be wealthy,
Hey, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin, here with Aaron, joined by friend of the channel and returning guest, Crypto Jebb, who is a technical and fundamental cryptocurrency analyst. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Austin. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and by the way, I know you're about to get married, so big things going on with you on and off the crypto market. So thanks for taking the time with us. I want to get to Cardano. You follow the project very closely. Maybe before we even get to that, what's your take on the general crypto market right now?
I think the crypto market right now is being heavily influenced by short-term technicals and fundamentals that are very bearish, but I think a lot of the things that are happening in the crypto world and in the traditional geopolitical world are actually exemplifying exactly why Bitcoin and crypto was created in the first place. You have, people in Ukraine that are not able to get into their bank accounts. You have the ruble over in Russia down 30% within 3 weeks of the conflict beginning. Ever since February the 17th, it's dropped from 1.3 cents down to less than 0.9 cents over the US dollar while the dollar is declining. So I think what you're seeing right now is there are all these geopolitical things that are having short-term negative price action on Bitcoin and on the rest of the cryptocurrency markets. We saw Cardano drop below $1, of course. It's having an impact on people wanting to leave the market. It's a distraction, but at the same time, a lot of what's going on in Eastern Europe, going on with oil prices, going on with financial sovereignty is actually showing the reason why Bitcoin was created in the first place, which is to help people achieve financial sovereignty over their finances.
Okay. Interesting. And like a lot of risk assets are being drained right now, obviously, because huge uncertainty in the global economic sphere. Is this an opportunity for Cardano, or is now not the time to be looking at these risk assets?
Oh, yeah, no, now is a great opportunity for every asset, Cardano and Bitcoin included. There's an old saying in the stock market, billionaires are made in recessions, because when people have capital on the sidelines and you see the stock market go down, 18, 20, 22%, or you see crypto go down 50% like we saw in March of 2020, then the people that are sitting on the sidelines with cash in either a stable coin or in fiat currency or in some other investment vehicle that is less volatile than something like Bitcoin and crypto, they're able to take advantage of those drops on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I think right now is a phenomenal time to be looking to get into long-term positions. However, if you're looking to get into short-term positions with how much uncertainty there is, you might want to be a little bit more careful about that.
So Cardano, is that, for anybody that's never heard of it before, how is it different than the other layer 2 competitors out there? What is Cardano?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, about a month ago. That was a great interview. For anyone who hasn't seen, I'm not pumping my own channel here. I'm just saying, go watch the interviews that he's done. Did with Dan from Crypto Capital Venture also. They're absolute genius. Cardano is worth $30 billion for a reason. It's because it was built on principles. It was built for people, and it was built for a purpose. There are things that Cardano was built on in the very similar way that Bitcoin was built on principles and purpose, in the same way Ethereum was built on principles and purpose. The reason I talk about Cardano quite a bit, and I have no affiliation with Cardano, let me put that out there. I just like Cardano. Cardano was built with principles, for a purpose, for people, and it puts those people over profits. That's a saying we have in our company quite a bit. We put people over profits. If we have to make a decision, and that decision either one will allow us to make more money, or two, that decision will allow us to put people's needs first and help to serve them in the spirit of humility, which is one of our core values. If we're able to make a decision and those are the two choices, we're going to choose people every time. And that's what Cardano does. And many other projects do also. But one of the things that differentiates Cardano is that while it, yes, is a layer 1 decentralized application and DeFi protocol platform such as Ethereum, such as Solana, such as Avalanche, it does things a lot differently in that all of its technology is rigorously tested and is sent through the scientific method. There's hundreds of research papers that have been written on Cardano. I believe it's one of the most thoroughly researched and developed cryptocurrencies in the entire industry. And because it's doing that, instead of having to move 2 steps forward and take 1 step back to fix problems that you could have fixed in the first place if you had built it right the first time, Cardano was able to lay down a strong foundation and actually build a solid cryptocurrency the first time without having to go back through things like Ethereum 2.0 and reinvent the wheel after you've already got a $400 billion cryptocurrency that you have to go in and re-engineer. It's not Ethereum's fault. Ethereum was the first to market in its asset class, but Cardano has learned a lot from some of the other projects that came before it. And I do think it's going to be one of the most rigorously tested and one of the most solid cryptocurrency projects that is doing what it's doing in the market right now.
I like it. But here's the thing, writing research papers, that's cool. Doing it with the purpose for people, that's great. What about the actual like token economy? Like what can we look forward to in the next like year, I guess, where we see Cardano getting used?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a ton of updates that are coming out to help with their three pillars. They got decentralization, governance, and inclusive accountability. Those are three major pillars. Those are the three pillars of what Cardano is striving for. Charles Hoskinson spoke about that on my channel. The different updates that are coming out along Cardano's line are helping them to develop things such as, for one, their decentralized nature. The fact that Cardano is a very much decentralized project. Charles Hoskinson is the thought leader, of course, and he's the founder of IOHK and IOG. But at the same time, it is a project that's able to self-develop, and it's a community that's grown beyond him. Then you have their governance functionality. I'm not going to get into all of the different updates and everything that's going on. That'd be a little outside the purview of this video. They're working a lot on different projects and, different applications and implementations that are going to help with their governance. And then you also have different updates coming out in their inclusive accountability sector. And basically what that means is that anyone is able to go in and audit exactly what's going on Cardano so that you can hold the developers and the community of Cardano accountable to what Cardano says it's doing. And that's something that Cardano is attempting to help different governments do. And that's one of the things that they're doing a lot of this year, working with the state of Wyoming, working with different municipalities around the United States, working with Nigeria, working with different African nations, helping different governments to bring online inclusive, accountable systems so that people are able to fact check whether their governments are doing exactly what they say they're doing. And especially in a political climate that we've been in for the last 2 to 3 years, that's something that people take very seriously because trust of governments is at an all-time low. And Cardano is attempting to help with that.
What is the biggest challenge for Cardano in the short next 1 to 3 years? Because, nothing is all sunshine and rainbows. Obviously, if traditional markets continue to tank in this global uncertainty, that could be bad for all assets. But with Cardano, what do you see?
Instant gratification and greed are the biggest problems that Cardano faces, because a lot of people see that Cardano has rallied to, $3. It's sitting at the time of recording this on the 4th of March. It's sitting around at 90 cents right now. A lot of people say, oh, yes, but Cardano price go down. Well, yeah, but so did Amazon. Amazon was down 80, 90% from all-time high back in the 90s, and now it's worth $3 trillion because it focused on fundamentals and implementation of a product that would help people, and it would actually benefit the lives of hundreds of millions of people. So I think one of the biggest threats to Cardano, to people missing out on Cardano is the fact that a lot of people say, yes, but the token price is down 75%. Yes, but that doesn't matter. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's down 50%, what people need to remember is that is Bitcoin any less Bitcoin today than it was yesterday? Is it any worse at solving the Byzantine generals problem? Is it any worse at building the first decentralized ledger that was adopted by millions of people? Is it any less of that? No, in fact, it's actually better at that today, and it's more secure today than it ever has been. So what I would say the biggest threat to the Cardano community are people not investing in Cardano because they're looking at the price rather than the product. I said this on Around the Blockchain. I believe you were on it with me, Austin. I talked about how the reason that I have so much respect for Cardano and Charles Hoskinson is because, unlike most projects in the cryptocurrency space, instead of focusing on marketing, Charles Hoskinson actually came on my channel and said, hey, we struggle at marketing because we're so invested in product. I would much rather have a company that has an amazing product and struggles at marketing because the product will sell itself, rather than having great marketing and then trying to backfill the product because you promised something that you haven't delivered yet. And I think when people realize that that's what Cardano is doing, then they're going to be wanting to scoop some up while it's sitting down here around $1.
Well said. Very well said. I want to remind the audience to check out Crypto Jebb. His links are down below. And if you're getting value from this video, leave a comment, give it a like. But Jebb, none of us are financial advisors. Audience, make your own decisions, do your own research at home. But I got a fun question for you.
Okay.
How much, looking maybe 10 years down the line, if Cardano holders are right, how much Cardano would you say the average person needs to hold, to become wealthy or for life-changing gains?
Well, that's an interesting question. Thank you, Austin. I believe that Cardano, and I made a video on this, and you guys can hold me to this, in the next 10 years, if Cardano continues on its trajectory, I think you're going to see a 20 to 30x. I think it's going to be $1 trillion cryptocurrency. And I honestly think that's conservative because of everything that it's doing. I think its blockchain is going to be implemented with millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, and dozens of governments around the world, if not more. So the average person, to be wealthy, number one, they don't just need money. I define rich as having to do with money. Wealth has to do with money, finances, family, relationships, spiritual, all that. Wealth, I think, is a lot more than money. But for someone to become rich, and let's say they're able to retire, I define retiring as being able to not work another day in your life and have enough money to maintain your current lifestyle. That's how I define rich. if the average American person, the average American brings in, $55,000 a year, they want to retire. Let's say this person is 50, they're expecting to live to 85, they need 35 years. Let's just make up a number. Let's say they need $750,000. It's going to go to 30x. You do some simple math. You probably want $10,000 to $30,000 Cardano. So that's $10,000 to $30,000 worth of Cardano. Hold it for 10 years, and then in 10 years, say you want to retire. I would say that magic number for if you're trying to retire, you're the average person, you're willing to live on $60,000 a year, you're not trying to become a millionaire, you're not trying to buy a Lamborghini. If you're just an average person, you're trying to retire using Cardano, then I would say probably 10 to 50,000 Cardano isn't a bad step, and you can build that through dollar cost averaging. You don't have to buy all of that today, and in fact, I wouldn't encourage that. First of all, I'm not a financial advisor. Second of all, I wouldn't encourage you to go 100% in on Cardano. One of my employees is actually 100% in on Cardano, and I tell them, like, hey, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I would say probably somewhere in that 10 to 50,000 Cardano region, so about $10,000 to $50,000. Hold it for 10 years and see where it would go. But again, diversification is important. This is just a thought experiment.
In 10 years, let's all come back to this video and see where it ended up.
Yep, you can hold me to it.
No, and obviously we're all just speculating. That's half the fun of crypto.
Yes.
But awesome insights today, Jebb. You always really know you're a great speaker, and you have a great sort of POV on the crypto market landscape. So thank you. Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily audience.
If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what you're doing. These guys are doing an amazing thing. I love you guys' content, by the way. I watch them like, man, I came here for one thing and I just learned 7 others. I think that's kind of the magic of y'all's channel. You click on the video, you're like, oh yeah, I want to hear about Sunday Swap, or oh, I want to hear about this exchange, or I want to hear about the hash rate. And then I'm like, I just walked away with 8 times more than I came for. And I think I think you guys are very special in that. So if you guys haven't subscribed, one of the best sources in the entire crypto space for updates on what's going on in the crypto markets, definitely got to give them a subscribe. Follow them on Twitter too. They got some great stuff over there too.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate that, Jebb. Thank you so much.